What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks.
I do have a media recommendation.
I love Lord of the Rings. Superheroes, movies, a little jack of all trades, I guess.
So what makes me a geek?
What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks, your weekly pop culture podcast from Central Michigan Life, where we discuss all things geek culture, which is like high culture, but better. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you follow the CM Life Instagram and Twitter pages for updates on the podcast, and look for us wherever you find your podcasts, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our website at www.cm-life.com. My name is Brendan Valentine, joining you from the decimated remains of Death Star 2, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me and my fellow geeks this week as we introduce ourselves with this question of the week. So, Encanto has come out recently, and it's been the talk of TikTok and most of the geek platforms as well. It's a very good movie, I must say. But one thing in that movie is everyone with powers has very useful powers. So I wanted to ask, what is the most useless superpower you've ever seen? So like, I can think of a lot of useless ones in my head, but like ones that have shown up whether in movies or comics or like it hasn't been defined as a superpower, but is like a power in and of itself. Um, I decided to go with like the in the mythology, like the Midas touch, where everything you touch turns to gold.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is problematic. You
There
can't
was
touch. Yes,
there's a guy with that power on Heroes. So yeah, not even
Yeah.
mythology. That's even Oh gosh.
uh, yeah, that. And then I was like, but everyone knows that kind of is sucky anyway. So my backup is I don't remember his name, but the guy from Sky High that just turns into a ball. I think he's just in that one scene where the coach kicks him. But that
Oh yeah. Wasn't it a girl? I
Sidekick.
thought it was a girl.
I
It might have
don't
been a
remember the scene
girl.
that well.
I think she might have been a cheerleader.
Yeah,
Sidekick.
like
Yeah.
yeah. Because she was in like the cheerleading outfit or something, and then she just
Yeah.
like did a flip and turned into a bouncing ball.
Sorry, I'm a strong believer that the words guy and dude use they them pronouns and tend to be gender neutral.
That's fine.
However, that's not how they've historically been used, so my bad.
It's all good. I'll go next if that's okay with you, Isaac.
Go ahead.
Um, so hey, I'm Hope. Um, so like I completely forgot about Sky High. And thinking about like all the sidekicks and everything, but I went with the Thing from Fantastic Four. But so like his power of like super strength and being invincible is great, but being a giant rock is useless because Superman is invincible unless you have kryptonite, but he's invincible and he looks like a human. So like what's the point of being a rock? I don't
That's
understand.
the most interesting part of his character arc, though.
But like it's kind of useless.
No, I mean, I think you have a good point. I would
Yeah.
say, especially if you comment on the Fan Four Stick movie, uh, where when it shows him getting his power, it just shows a bunch of rocks like colliding with him, which
Yeah,
makes it terrifying because it's as if he is underneath all those rocks,
right.
just being
Like,
himself, which is terrifying. And he also doesn't, I don't know, he looks even less human in that one. Like the original one, you can get away with it, but
Well, the original one he looks like he does in the comics.
yeah.
yeah.
And like the original one, they're trying to make him look human too, like in the comics, kind of, but like has the humanoid features. But like, yeah, with the new Fantastic Four, like it's just rocks. Like, what? What's the point of that?
I
So
can't
like,
wait till we can not call Fan Four Stick the new Fantastic Four anymore.
Yeah. When it's just Van Four Stick.
Yes.
Fanfic Four Stick. No. Um, all right. Hello, I'm Isaac. With the loving eyes of BD1 staring at me over my shoulder, just like Cal Kestis. I was thinking about this question. Obviously there's a lot of mutants out there that have pretty sucky powers. But what I want to point out is I love Rogue in the comics. Like she's got an awesome power where she physically can touch a hero and use their powers. So if she touched Superman, she'd be able to have Superman's physiology and his powers. But in the movie, they translated that to if she touches someone, she drains their health and they die. which is pretty awful. And the one time she actually kind of uses it with powers is when Pyro in X2 is like shooting fire at police. And she like grabs him and she's able to like absorb the fire back in. And that's the only time she like uses her powers similar to the comics. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I'm gonna kiss my boyfriend, and he's gonna go almost into a comatose state and die because I can't do anything. It's like the Midas touch, but
Death.
not as fast. Yeah.
You don't get the money of the gold.
Yeah, you don't get the monetary
compensation.
So there's that. I also was thinking about like Cyclops as well. Like super cool power, and I love Cyclops, but useful only if you're in a situation where you have to like shoot concussive blasts at people. Also,
I feel like
which as an X-Men happens a lot.
I feel like Havoc though, Alex
Yeah.
Summers, like his brother has a little bit better of that power because he can shoot it from anywhere essentially.
Yeah, Havoc has a lot better. Also, if like I woke up with Cyclops' powers, I don't think we have ruby quartz sunglasses I can wear all the time. So I'd be done for.
Well, the people living in your house would be done for.
Yes, and everything I would have to see is with a sepia lens, so that would be pretty awful.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. Now, to get things started, we'd like to share some quick geek news. So, what have y'all got for us?
Okay, I'll start. So, let's see. Electronic Arts and Lucasfilms Games have teamed up with Respawn Entertainment, which they've done before to make Jedi Fallen Order. Great game, hence BD1 behind me. But to make 3 more games, they're making Jedi Fallen Order 2. They're making another first-person game, first-person shooter, Star Wars shooter, and they're making a Star Wars strategy game. And they don't have titles for those yet. But, I mean, Respawn Entertainment also made, like, Titanfall, and they also made Apex Legends. So I think that a first-person shooter Star Wars game would be pretty awesome. And the guy that they have working on it, Hirschman, oh, man, I can't find his first name. He also worked on the original Battlefront games, Star Wars Battlefront games, and Force Unleashed. So I think that any game that they come out with is going to be pretty awesome.
Awesome. All right, on my end, we got a quick blurb from Netflix on Stranger Things season 4. We did officially get like a release date. It's going to start dropping on July 1st, 2022. But something that doesn't look too promising is it will be releasing monthly. So instead of like a weekly pattern or like drop everything at once like they've done in the past, it looks like we're either getting chunks every month or like an episode a month, which seems weird.
I hope it's chunks.
It is chunks. Never
like
mind.
3 episodes.
Sorry, I was just looking into it more. That was a glitch. So that people were concerned about that. Cool. I
Good
faked
job.
everyone out just like Netflix did.
Oh.
But no, that was a glitch. It's not going to release like that. Which is why, like, when I was reading the article originally, I was like, this is so like kind of messed up. Why would they do it like this? Their most popular show, arguably, it used to be the most popular show. And they're just gonna like give us a little bit every month. People are gonna lose interest. But Netflix has confirmed that is not the case. So if you see that going around, that is misinformation.
All right. Well, I have more than just one piece of geek news. So to start off, fans of the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, we are getting a Disney Plus series coming out. It is going to be about how Tim Allen's Santa Claus, Scott, is realizing that he can't be Santa Claus forever. He's got kids besides Buddy that we saw in the final movie. And it's going to be a mini series. So like, it's not going to be multiple seasons, most likely. It's just going to be the one. But like Tim Allen is returning to the show. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they transition Santa Clauses without the previous Santa Claus dying.
Yeah.
Or they're just gonna kill off Tim Allen.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're gonna kill off
I want
Tim
to raise
Allen.
my kids, and then he like falls off a roof.
For Mighty Ducks Game Changers, also on Disney Plus, Josh Duhamel is going to be playing the new coach in season 2 and replacing of Emilio Estevez. I did not realize that he was leaving, but it kind of makes sense. I'm gonna be honest, I never finished the season because I got distracted with school.
No
But it
excuses, Hope.
it wouldn't surprise me if like Emilio Estevez found like his character found that he wanted to be by Charlie or something, like by his people, his original team. So I don't know how they're gonna play that off. For FBI Most Wanted on CBS, Julian McMahon is leaving, and he is the leader for the Most Wanted team. They're replacing him with Dylan McDermott. So he has been in a lot of other shows, and so they've kind of been writing Julian McMahon's character Jesse off the show, so I'm not surprised of him leaving at all. But it'll definitely be different without Jesse there. Also for Disney Plus, going back to Disney Plus, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the TV series has officially been greenlit. I'm so excited. So Rick Riordan and John Steinberg are going to be writing the pilot episode with James Bobbin directing. And then they have already said that they're going to be following the books very closely, and Rick Riordan is on as like a consultant, making sure that everything is happening correctly. And they're currently casting all of the characters right now, so nothing has been announced yet, especially anything with when it's going to be released. But I'm
it better
super
just be a bunch of 12-year-olds. That's what I'm hoping for, so that they can grow with the show.
See, but like Luke can be a little bit older because he was older than Annabeth.
Luke was,
but like
18, I believe, in the start.
So like, but they are planning on casting age appropriate. I think he was 16.
Because I think he was 21 when he.
Yeah, I think so. For the Batgirl DC Comics movie, Batgirl has officially cast the first transgender character in DC movie history. So they cast Ivory Aquino to play Barbara Gordon's best friend in the upcoming film. And I'm super excited for that. And then just finally, because, we're coming up on the Super Bowl and everything, and the Chiefs just beat the, 2 weekends ago now, but the Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills. Chiefs fans raised $178,000 to the Oishi Children's Hospital in Buffalo, specifically where Josh Allen's, like the wing that's named after Josh Allen's grandmother who passed away. And here's the fun part, is that they donated in $13 increments for the 13 seconds that it took the Kansas City offense to drive down the field in the last quarter to tie and take them to overtime.
Well, if you're gonna gloat, at least gloat by donating to a children's hospital.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I'm sorry, Hope, that your team's butt got absolutely whooped this week. There was no butt whooping this weekend. Every game was incredibly close. Like, I think in terms of like divisional round, this was the closest I think it's like ever been, at least as long as I've been alive.
But listen, my quarterback Joe Burrow took his team and broke a really long streak, and I'm rooting for the Bengals this weekend to beat the Chiefs.
Me too. And then Rams. Stafford in a Super Bowl as soon as he's not alive.
No Stafford. He needs to stay out of the Super Bowl.
Why?
Because he should not just be able to change teams and be like, oh, look, I'm a good quarterback. Because
he was always a good quarterback. He just had a bad team.
A quarterback is supposed to help elevate your team, like Joe Burrow.
And he did elevate the team. That's why they didn't go 0-16 every season like they did this season.
They were not 0-16. They were what, like 2-15 and 1?
Yeah, whatever. They still lost like the first 11 games of their season. But yeah, as a Lions fan, I'm looking forward to a Rams Bengals Super Bowl, and then the Rams win it.
Bengals.
Rams.
Or if the Chiefs beat the Bengals, but I'll take the Chiefs.
But anyway, we do
Let's
have
go
like
Chiefs.
all right.
My grandma's from Kansas City. Let's go.
Oh. I mean, like I don't know. I like all four teams that have made it at this point. The only teams I actively root against are the Packers and the Bucks, and that's just because they have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, who are like phenomenal football players. So
the only person I root for on the Buccaneers, Sean Murphy Bunting from CMU.
oh, we had another former Chip on the Buccaneers a little while ago too.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about him right now.
We don't talk about Antonio. Speaking of not talking about Antonio, our main topic for today. So this past year on Disney Plus, we've had a lot of animated movie releases. I think Raya and the Last Dragon was the first one, and then we got Luca. And then the year ended out pretty strong with Encanto. So, like I said earlier in our opening question, Encanto, one of the biggest movies on the internet right now, going around. We Don't Talk About Bruno, a top charting song. And yeah, we just wanted to go through the movie, what we thought and like its context, and then see what else is going on Disney Plus. So, when y'all first watched Encanto, what was your favorite song when you first watched it?
Oh, favorite song, Surface Pressure.
Okay.
Hands down. Still is. I love that song.
Honestly, probably the We Don't Talk About Bruno, because it just had a nice groove to it.
Oh,
And
I'm
it's
super
really catchy.
sappy and like Dos Oruguitas, but specifically the
Yes.
Spanish version.
Yes, yeah. The credit version in English is good too, but
It's good when you don't speak Spanish, but then once you know what the song means, I'm like, I need the Spanish version.
Yeah. No, it was that was probably my second favorite song. I listened to it and I was like, this is so wholesome.
Yeah, I have added multiple Encanto songs onto playlists, and now just randomly quote parts of the songs like as I'm just walking through my apartment. I have this habit where it doesn't matter what the song is, I sing it out of order and intentionally mess up the words. My girlfriend hates it.
Yeah, my
but
girlfriend says I do that too. Intentionally.
oh, I can't imagine, Isaac. I don't think you'd ever do that intentionally. That sounds so annoying. But anyway, I do it not to be annoying, but just because that's how my brain works. So I'm walking around the house. The TikTok audios don't help, like the crossover with Hamilton. The like, everyone give it up for America's favorite fighting Frenchman, Mirabelle, and then she goes to her little rap verse, trying to avoid why she doesn't have powers.
Yeah.
I've also heard a theory that to distract the kids, she's the one that gave that kid coffee so that they wouldn't ask about her powers, so he gets so hyped. So I think that's actually Mirabelle's power is caffeinating children.
Yes.
See, I always thought her power was connected to the house. That like she was the house essentially. But
Before we go any farther, spoilers for Encanto. I haven't seen it. But anyway, continue, Hope.
Yeah. So I forgot to say during the intro question, but I am at La Casita, which when I first heard La Casita and then saw how big this house actually was, I was like, that is not a little house.
That's not casita.
It's not
La Casa Grande.
But yeah, I always thought that Mirabelle's powers related to the house, just because like I don't know, like yeah, I know the house would like bring the chairs and everything, but I mean, it was her anger that destroyed it. So like, I don't know, I like she's connected to it in my opinion.
See, the theory I've heard is that her power is to like break down barriers. So like, which is why when she like went to touch her door was a barrier from the rest of her family.
Interesting.
And then it's why Louisa like opens up to her fairly easily when she starts to talk to her. I don't think that's canon, but I thought it was a decent
I was gonna
theory.
say, I think the biggest thing that would break that theory is her relationship with shoot, what's her other sister's name?
Isabella. I think that one is
Isabella.
because she didn't want to. Like she
That's fair.
like harbored something against Isabella, and then once they start to get into it, they break into song and dance. And when the house became a barrier to her connecting with the rest of her family, it started to break apart.
Which I find like super interesting, how the grandmother was perfectly fine with like the spouses not having powers, but then, oh, you're blood related to me and you don't have powers. Shame on you.
Abuela doesn't have powers either. She's
right.
I've heard,
but she has a room though, so
I think Abuela's powers are giving the rooms.
oh,
Like Abuela creates the doors. The candle gives the powers, but Abuela creates the doors. So Abuela creates the barriers, and Mirabel tears them down, and that's why they're natural opposites.
Interesting.
I've also
I take that theory.
Being like the comic book nerd, I love the non-canon going through theories and stuff. The other theory I like is that Abuelo is Casita.
Oh,
like Casita is the reincarnation of Abuelo.
Like Monster House.
Yeah.
See, but like
I too readily said yes, but no.
Are you telling me that a loved one who passed away and continued to make a home for their family and loved ones isn't the same thing?
But the key part of Monster House,
them.
Yeah, the key part of Monster House is that the house doesn't let anyone else come near it, and like regularly throughout the movie, the townspeople come in and out of this house.
They also blow up the house in Monster House, so
they do kind of blow up the house in
spoilers.
Encanto.
But I mean, like, it makes sense too in that way too, because like Abuelo, or Abuelo was like, whatever Abuelo's name is, send me like someone to help or whatever, send me a person that's needed. And he sends Mirabel. And then she's like, oh, you don't have powers, go away. And then he's just like, listen, we're gonna break shit until you realize that you need Mirabel. So
yeah. On the subject of powers, what were your, if you had to have a power of one of the family members, what would it be?
Oh, I already have Isabella's power. I'm already perfect.
But can you summon plants?
After I put some seeds in dirt and water them.
Oh gosh, like it's one of those, I'm torn between oh my gosh, I cannot remember names right now, but Isabella's power of plants, and then the cousin who could turn and look at like
Camilo.
you want. Yes,
Camilo.
Because
Isabella, your boyfriend's here.
And then he just turns into him, and then and then when like Mirabel's like trying to go to sorry, the cousin who can hear everything,
Dolores. The love of my life.
She's great.
When she's trying to like be like, oh, did you hear anything about like the cracks in the house? And it's just Camilo instead. And then the dad comes in and is like, Camilo, stop trying to be someone else and taking extra food.
Yeah. I think Camilo would be a pretty awesome power. He's like Mystique too, because it's like clothes and everything he changes into.
Doesn't Bruno also kind of have that shape-shifting ability? But he takes on personalities, Hernando?
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. I'm Hernando. My second. Oh, go.
I was gonna say I can never remember the name of the person who creates all the spackle.
I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
TikTok just cuts off it at.
I'm Hernando, and I'm afraid of nothing.
Yeah. All the patchwork is done by Hernando. Who is there? I am Hernando, and I'm scared of nothing. Yep.
Otherwise, I would not want Dolores's power, because like, as cool as it is that she like is in the know of like everything, that would be so hard, like hearing everything. She's like Cyclops, but with her ears. There's a moment where there's fireworks going off and she has to cover her ears because it's too loud. But I do think Bruno's powers would be kind of cool. Just because if you made a really cool prophecy, you could totally like put it up on a wall and it looks like art. I think that'd be so cool. His room sucks though.
Yes. And he was very happy that Mirabelle went into it.
Hmm. Um, I think I'm gonna disagree with you, Isaac. I think I would want Dolores' powers. Because I know they're supposed to use their powers for good, but like, you know how much blackmail I can do if I can hear everything?
That's true.
Like,
I mean,
I just be like, Abuela, I
typical
know you.
Slytherin there.
Yeah, exactly. Abuela, I know you forgot Mirabelle's birthday. I'll give you this gift if you, cut me some slack on chores for the next month.
Oh, also the oh gosh, who's the little guy? Antonio?
Antonio,
Yeah, Antonio.
Pretty awesome powers. Alan Tudyk played one of the birds, and I love him.
as he does often in these animated movies.
He also has a really cool bedroom, which makes me wonder: does Mirabelle's mom, is her like room just like full of like kitchen appliances? Like,
Huh.
hey, I know you're like 6 years old, but be prepared to be the one that cooks everything.
I also love that her husband just like constantly gets hurt. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, just got stung on my hands and my face by bees. Okay, but like, hey, my wife can heal me. It's fine.
Yeah,
I think
shout
that's
out to
probably how they got like together. Is he was just a bumbling little klutz, and like Julieta's like, I'm going to have a job forever.
also I looked it up because they're the Madrigal, the family.
Mhm.
All of the in-laws took the last name Madrigal. Uh
Yeah.
Even though they're like men and traditionally uh they would take there. Because I was curious about that, because I was like, that was my first thought. I was like, wait a minute, wouldn't Bruno didn't have any kids? And obviously this is my very patriarchy thought process going on. I was like, Bruno didn't have any kids, which means that none of them would be madrigals, but they all took the last name, which I thought was really cool. Shout out to all the in-laws just being some of the best humans.
Well, I think that represents what I think we should do about last names is no more like, oh, we take the man's or the woman's or we hyphenate. Just pick the cooler last name.
Yeah,
Usually
yeah.
it's obvious. I think I've said this before on the podcast. In my life, I've only met one person who's had a cooler last name than me. For those of you who don't know, my last name is Valentine. In high school, I was at a forensic competition, and they called the last name. This person's last name was Van Wardragon. So if you're out there listening to the podcast, I think your last name is dope. But that is the only last name that I've ever found that I'd be like, yeah, that one beats mine.
That's so cool. I met someone whose last name was Peabody, and I thought that was pretty neat because
Did they have someone named Sherman with them?
they didn't. I don't know what their dog's name was, but I thought that was pretty interesting. No, wait, I lied. It wasn't Peabody. It was Poindexter,
Ah.
which I thought was kind of cool. But also sounded like an insult.
Mhm.
Fair.
Oh, another thing about Encanto though is like speaking of like the in-laws is like this is the first Disney movie in a little while where they've had like really like productive, constructive father figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also,
Once,
Louisa, they had to, all of the producers and creators fought Disney to have Louisa be buff and strong too, which I really liked. And Disney produced a ton of toys for Isabella, but then they weren't selling because they were like, oh, everyone wants the pretty sister. No, all the kids want the buff sister who can carry 6 donkeys.
yeah, she does have pretty cool powers.
Yes.
I like her a
Yeah.
lot. That's why I said Surface Pressure is my favorite song. When I first heard it, I said, oh my gosh. And my girlfriend went to the bathroom and I like rewound it and I like re-listened to it. It was so cool. And I don't know. Yeah, I like
One
how
thing I
muscular
find
she is.
interesting about that is like I just assumed Luisa was the oldest, but Isabella's the oldest.
Yeah, she's the middle child, which
Makes sense, but like by the lyrics of the song, you would assume that she's the oldest.
she only says older. Give it to your sister's older.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That she was like the oldest sister, like the oldest of the entire family too. Because like the entire song, she's like, no, I'm literally taking all of the grief from the family and like carrying whatever. And but okay, that's interesting. It kind of makes sense too that Isabella is the oldest though too, because typically the oldest child is the perfect one, um, or like has to maintain the perfect.
Yeah. It has to get married, and that's why like she doesn't want to do all those things, but she does it for the family.
Yep.
Spoilers.
We said it before we started talking, so.
Hmm.
No,
But
I love it. I wish my one hope was that at the end Mirabelle would get a power. Uh because everything was, or at least a bedroom. I'm assuming they all got bedrooms, but they're probably
They
kind of
did
like
get a
normal
bedroom, I
bedrooms.
thought.
Yeah. Well, they made the house like themselves first. So everyone technically had a bedroom that they made by their own hands. Um but I wanted her to get a power, but then at the same time I was like, no, you're right. I also almost thought they were going to continue with no one has powers. I was like, there's no way Disney's going to pull it off, but they might, and then they didn't.
I think like the one thing that I criticized while watching the movie was like the fight between Mirabelle and Abuela and then the house collapsing. Like to me, I was like, okay, let's drag it out just a little bit more. And then I went, wait, this is a kid's movie. They can't get that deep into discussions yet. So just a quick fix and go. But
no
I
throwing
like,
of chanclas.
yeah, I really liked that Bruno that they kept that whole like tries to save after the discussion
Yeah,
has already been had.
because he's a
Hmm.
good guy. I love
Yeah.
Bruno. His
I do
little
love,
plate.
which was fun because like they make it seem like Bruno's gonna be the villain, but then like the
Yeah,
the movie doesn't necessarily have a villain. Like it's kind of Abuela, but at the same time, like it's not really Abuela.
it's the fighting and tension between each other.
Okay. Have you guys seen the video of someone like slowing down the We Don't Talk About Bruno song
Yeah,
and like seeing all like Bruno in the background, like he's sneaking around and then he's just like dancing to
he's
his own
vibing.
song. I freaking love it.
Speaking about we don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno and like the what's the ending song called? Whereas like Bruno goes like, I'm sorry about your wedding, didn't mean to be upsetting. That wasn't a prophecy. What's that song called?
Oh.
Don't
That's where
know.
you really see Lin-Manuel-Miranda's touch on the movie in it.
Yeah,
Like we don't talk about Bruno, it's basically just a theater production. If you see like when they're like setting the table, it's all so dramatic and all that stuff like that. And then that verse for Bruno specifically, you hear his pattern coming through. So I just want with Encanto, I really started to note how like pervasive Lin has become, like especially in like Disney, but in like Hollywood in general. So real quick, I'd like to enter the Lin-Manuel-Miranda-Verse, and kind of talk about that evolution up into Encanto, because like just recently in The Heights was in theaters, which was one of his projects, which he started in like when he was in theater and then has like moved to do that. But he's also done music for Moana, and of course Hamilton. So what do you think his trajectory is now? Do you think this is going to be kind of it, or is he going to become like the it person for Disney and Hollywood in general for these types of
he's
productions?
gonna be the John Williams.
Yep. He's already set to do the music for the next Ariel
Oh,
Little
really?
Mermaid movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
is he?
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
super excited for that one. I love the original, but also like, can we make it just a little bit more into like around water themed music? Not necessarily sea shanties, but hey,
Yo,
throw.
if Ariel starts singing um Wellerman, I'm gonna lose it.
Listen, we predicted that Bucky was going to be singing sea shanties and Wellerman, and he did not, and I'm very disappointed. But
Oh, well, like Captain America 4, the opening scene is gonna be Bucky on the boat.
I hope so.
But
Side tangent: if they kill off Bucky, I'm having words with Kevin Feige.
No,
I
they
can see
might.
it. I was hope you're just so blinded by your love for him, and Isaac are like, it could happen.
It could happen.
My problem, if they decide to kill off Bucky in Captain America 4, is they gave him a ton of like a bigger character arc and character development just to kill him off. Like that was kind of pointless. That you might as well just left him dead and not made him the Winter Soldier.
I mean, you could argue that Iron Man got 3 movies plus Avengers movies, and they just killed him off.
Yeah, but like I think it was his not necessarily
Yeah, no,
his
that's his arc.
time, but like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
arc
yeah,
reactor actually.
Yo, the power of the sun in his chest.
No, if anything, they're not gonna do it in Captain America 4. If anything, it'll be like
Avengers
Avengers,
5.
Quantum, maybe.
yeah. I'm okay if they do it like down the line. I don't want them to, but like,
He's gonna lose the other arm though.
yeah, or a
No,
leg, or an eye, or
but
something.
by 2028, Bucky is just gonna be like Vision and just be an android, but a vibranium android, like like Vision.
Like
He
Vision.
still look like Sebastian Stan. So, but yeah. Going back to our talk about Lin-Manuel-Miranda, though, is that he, besides The Little Mermaid, that he is co-producing and co-composing the music for. His next movie after that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which is a book. So it's a film adaptation of the book. And it is LGBTQ characters and like discovering various things. But he is producing that one, and that was not for a couple more years. But like, I'm really excited for that one, and the fact that he is producing that, and with his things of In the Heights and Hamilton, casting people that are of various backgrounds, especially for Hamilton when you're talking about mostly white dudes, but then you got a cast where Washington is black. Like,
Well,
I'm excited.
hasn't he stated that like any reproduction of Hamilton, the cast should be all people of color, sans King George?
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what about Samuel Seabury?
Is Samuel
Who's white?
Seabury white?
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah. Yep.
Basically anyone that's pro-Britain.
Yeah. Pretty much. But yeah, I like absolutely love Lin-Manuel-Miranda and just like what he's trying to do and how he's breaking into Hollywood and the movie industry and everything. Especially when he's able to create his musicals and take them to TV and stuff and share them that way. Because In the Heights was fan freaking tastic. I absolutely love that movie. I think my favorite song from that one is Carnaval del Barrio. Like, it's so good and it covers so much stuff and it's so needed after what happens before it, because that made me cry. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite from In the Heights if you've seen it?
96,000, probably, just because he mentions Lord of the Rings. Only mentions Frodo. So
I haven't seen it.
it's good. I mean, you can listen to the
soundtrack.
original. Oh, I was gonna say the original on
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. I can do that too.
The original
with
that
Lin-Manuel
has-
in it.
Yeah, and
Chris
Christopher
Jackson.
Jackson, who met his wife while they were doing In the Heights musical, because Lin-Manuel Miranda has stated in an interview that he realized like when they were dating, because there was hand holding upstage and like he was the only person who could see it and he was just like fangirling over it. I was like, yes, theater bringing people together. But also, I'm sure I've said it before, but Lin-Manuel Miranda has told Christopher Jackson that he will always have some part in whatever he produces. So, like,
So
He'll always have a job with them.
King Trident will be played by Christopher Jackson.
That would be awesome.
I can see that, honestly.
that would be amazing. Like,
I said that as a joke, but now I'm not joking anymore. I'd like that casting.
It was a joke, but it was a good joke.
it was a
Keep
good
going.
idea.
However, I have heard some criticism on TikTok, not of Lin-Manuel Miranda, but of like Disney using him to be like, oh look, we're inclusive when like most of their projects haven't been. Like Lin does a great job of like bringing in specifically like his Hispanic heritage from, I believe he's from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Unless I'm wrong.
No, he's from Puerto Rico.
So bringing in like people that represent like that culture, and like even with Encanto with Colombia, and then Moana with Pacific Islanders, even though that's not like his like specific that's not his cultural background. Which I mean, it's a fair argument. Like Disney has for a long time been pretty. All of the most Disney princesses are white, um, and things like that. Most of their characters have been like Eurocentric, um, and like from a business perspective, it makes sense. It's just like I could see this being a slippery slope where they just use Lin to get like quote unquote street cred,
Yeah.
but
I
I
mean,
still like everything he puts out.
yeah, I see that, but like I also see the history of Disney too, and how like the original stuff that they put out with the Disney princesses, other than Pocahontas, were fairy tales that were very well known, between the Grimm brothers and Hans Christian Andersen. Um, so like they were using that to like boost sales and stuff of like, hey, look, we turned your favorite fairy tale into something that has a happy ending. Um, but I think in recent years too, like just as times are changing, like Disney is also realizing that they can't stay white centric and they have to branch out.
I mean, there's a reason Mushu did not make a return in the live action Mulan.
Although, if they had a Mushu, Eddie Murphy, but I don't know. Mushu's my favorite character because, dishonor on you, dishonor on your whole family, dishonor on your
Dishonor on your
cow.
cow.
Like,
That is a good
iconic.
line. Yeah, outside of the Lin-Manuel-Miranda-Verse, we have to make that the title of this episode, Into the Lin-Manuel-Miranda-Verse. Yeah, I'll text Mike.
We'll do it right now so we don't forget.
Um, but outside of that, Disney Plus has done some pretty phenomenal stuff this year. I really enjoyed Luca. I watched that actually after I watched Encanto. I thought Luca was funnier than Encanto, but Encanto definitely has more like deeper value. Luca has like a good family like story about family as well. But I think Encanto is a bigger hit because it has the music and everything. But what else have y'all been intrigued with from Disney Plus?
Oh, go ahead, Hope.
Oh, I was gonna say, just really quick with Luca. Someone has a problem with Bruno because Silencio Bruno, and then we don't talk about Bruno.
Who's Bruno?
Who is Bruno, and what did they do to the producers?
We don't talk about him, and we tell him to be quiet.
Yep.
Well, as you can see by my background, I am loving where Star Wars is going with Disney Plus. I really like Book of Boba Fett. I've liked it the whole time. I think that there's gonna be some pretty sick Lego sets, but the latest episode, Mandalorian episode 5, I mean, not Mandalorian.
Mando's not out yet.
It's basically Mando season 3.
It's basically Mando season 3. It gets you. There's a lot happens having to do with the Mandalorian. Spoiler alert.
Posthumous spoiler alert after we've said.
Spoiler alert. I'm happy because there is a BD unit. For those listening, that is my background. But BD1 being the robot from Jedi Fallen Order, and the fact that they have one in there now just made me really happy because that's one step closer to if you already have it animated, you just got to bring in the actor.
Which wouldn't
Castis.
Yeah, he has a pretty recognizable face, so it's not like you can recast him. But
that, I don't know, that little bit made me so happy. And there was even a moment where the BD unit gets like injured and you look over and he like does a little limp, and it's the same limp he does in the game.
Yes, I loved that.
So good.
I have heard some complaints from some like original trilogy fans that Boba Fett is not the same in this series that he was in the original trilogy, and the Mandalorian kind of fits that more. But I think that is because everything Boba went through in the Sarlacc pit, and then what we've seen like with the Tuscans, that's traumatic enough to change him, so he's no longer this brooding, not quick-witted, but and he's not quippy. What's the right word? It starts with a Q sound.
Quiet.
Quiet. Yeah, no, he's no longer this he's still fairly stoic, but I don't know. I feel like this develops his character better because it shows that he wasn't he was just hired muscle for Darth Vader, but it shows that he is more than that.
Yeah, and obviously he's super awesome in Clone Wars. You get to see him as a child and doing awesome things. But you got to remember that his original introduction into Star Wars was in the Christmas special, holiday special, where he was in an animated cartoon, and he did ride something, a giant beast, about the sizes of a Rancor. And he's pretty awesome in that. But
What is that beast called? Does it have a
the
name?
the big one, I don't know. I think it was. I don't know what it is. No,
I'm trying to remember it because the name Mythosaur was dropped
that was dropped.
in that
Oh,
episode. So I'm just trying to remember if that was it too, but I don't think it was. But yeah, I've also been loving Book of Boba Fett. Um, I really liked what Pixar's been doing with on Disney Plus as well. Like obviously you got Luca, but then they've released all these like little shorts that are either related to previous things like Doug Days or just like independent ones that have been really fun too. Which those are a little bit older now, but those have been fun. So if you haven't seen them, go check those out.
they're good. I like
Mhm.
all the little things where they have what is it? Uh, why can't I think of his name? Snowman from Frozen.
Olaf.
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 Olaf
Sorry.
retells
Yeah,
the
when he
different
retells,
Disney stories.
it's so good. Every time I see a video of it, I watch it just because it's the same way he does it in Frozen too. But it's funny because he does it for a bunch of different Disney movies. It's
Mhm.
enjoyable.
What's the one that is it coming up still? The one with the little girl turns into a giant red panda.
It's still
That's
coming
coming
up.
It's coming
And
up.
that looks kind of fun.
And that
Wait,
also looks fun.
people are mad about that one because it was supposed to come out in theaters, but then like Disney decided that they would probably make better profits or something by putting it directly to streaming. So yeah, that's greatness by Disney of being
I
like,
thought that was always supposed to come out on Disney Plus.
no. Because when my dad and I went to see No Way Home, there was a giant poster for it,
Oh,
and yeah, and like it had a date that it was gonna come out and everything too, but it's now just gotten shifted to strictly streaming.
Premier Access Disney Plus or just Disney Plus?
I don't think it's been said yet, but I'm going to assume that it's gonna be
Premier
like,
Access.
yeah, because then they can make money off of it more that way too, versus whatever they would get from, because I think they feel like they won't get as much money from an
Well,
animated movie right now in
also
theaters.
currently like with COVID numbers going back up, like I feel like more
Yeah.
people are like hesitant to go to movies again.
Yeah, that is very true as well. Because I would love to go see Uncharted in February, but we'll see how
I
COVID is.
I do have plans to see Uncharted in February as long as things don't get too bad.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think I'll be honest, I haven't seen Luca or Raya and the Last Dragon yet.
Oh,
Um,
they're both
Both
so
are
good.
awesome. They're both very
well,
good.
I was gonna say both of my nieces love Raya, especially my oldest niece. Um, I got her a Raya set, like a toys, and like that's her big thing lately has been Raya. Um, and like I think that one is also like a really good Disney moving in the way of away from, sorry to you too, but away from the male saving everything to, oh look, females can save stuff too,
You
and
just
like,
apologize to us for saying that?
yeah,
That's
because I don't
fine.
want you to get offended. I don't want
Yo,
egos to be offended.
no, you can save me all you want. Like I will happily sit at home. I will happily be a damsel in distress because that means I don't have to exercise.
um,
I mean, you
Ryan,
do to run away from the thing, but like,
You think I'm running away from the thing?
I'm a
Oh,
damsel.
if
I'm
you're
in
there to rescue
distress.
me, I will just sit back, relax, and wait.
Raya does. I love the world building in Raya. Um, I don't know if it's just the dungeon master in me, and I love the creating different civilizations with different aspects. But I think it did such a good job at having all these really different cultures that are all slightly different. But I don't know, it's super cool. Obviously, it got talked a lot about how it reminded people of Avatar: The Last Airbender. At least I saw that, but I don't know. I was a big fan of it. Cool art
Yeah.
too.
well, yeah. I was gonna say, Wasn't it also, I want to say similar to like, we're going back a ways, beginning of the 2000s, with the show Merlin, because of the whole last dragon egg thing and like multiple nations fighting to get the one power, just,
Aquafina, yeah.
yeah. I love
Well,
Aquafina.
we've known for a while Disney Plus is a powerhouse. The probably the pinnacle of streaming at this point. HBO Max has a lot of stuff, and it's actually, I think the price has gone down. It's fairly cheap at
Uh,
this point, which is
I
nice.
think I think currently what is it? Peacemaker, I think, is the #1 streaming show right now on HBO Max. But I think with the latest episode of Book of Boba Fett, they might fight.
Yeah,
Continue.
absolutely. You think we're gonna get a Peacemaker Book of Boba Fett crossover? Is that what you just said, Isaac? All right.
Basically the same helmet, right?
Yeah, basically. Well, anyway, as always here on Raving Geeks, we do like to end with some recommendations for our viewers, whether that be movies, video games, comics, or anything else geeky. So, have either of you got recommendations for us today?
Uh, if you have Paramount Plus or like access to Paramount Plus or CBS, I highly recommend NCIS Hawaii. Especially if you're a fan of the original NCIS and like the original team and everything. With Donozo, Kate, and McGee. Um, Honestly, like I see a lot of the original team in the team in Hawaii, and but also like there are slightly higher stakes and it's more of like family and protecting each other than sometimes the episodes of regular NCIS give off. But yeah, I also love the fact that there are only two white characters, white actors in NCIS Hawaii as well. And one of them is from, or both of them are from Canada or something, actually. Um, but yeah, it's super inclusive and they bring in a lot of the culture because one of the characters is Native Hawaiian. Um, and they talk about, one episode was like talking about during World War II and like being asked like, oh, what country are you actually from? Or like being told, hey, go back to your original country, and like the good important discussions and like showing both sides of like, no, it's difficult to talk about, but also you need to talk about it because the world is harsh and you want people to be prepared, or to how do you make sure this doesn't happen. But yeah, NCIS Hawaii is really good episode, good show. They currently have 13 episodes out right now and it's awesome, so that's my recommendation.
All right. I never like sat down and watched all of NCIS, but whenever I was like home from school, it would be on TV, and I would watch it sometimes, and it was good. Um, my recommendation, one is Peacemaker on HBO Max. I have been watching that. It is quite enjoyable. John Cena does a good job. It also has the Harry Potter actor who played Cormac McLagan
Oh,
in the
oh,
sixth movie.
he was in the Lucy Hale Cinderella story, Once Upon a Song as well.
And it's like so weird. Well, he plays a character named Vigilante, and you can like hear his voice, but he's American, not British, and it's weird.
I
I was like,
love
who is this?
Vigilante.
Who is this actor? And I looked him up, and I was like, oh, it's Cormac McLagan. But besides that, really good show that I've grown up watching. Almighty Johnsons. I think it's on Peacock right now, but you can also watch it for free on the streaming service Tubi, for as long as it's gonna be on there. Almighty Johnsons. If you, I don't know, it's a New Zealand-based show, so everyone's from New Zealand, and that's really fun.
It's Norse mythology,
It's
right?
Norse mythology, yep.
Okay.
And so it's about a bunch of, basically, it's like way back when in the 1800s, the gods of Norse mythology they descended on the earth, and then they were run out by other people, so they took a boat to New Zealand, which is true. There was a lot of Norwegian and like Scandinavian settlers in Norway to New Zealand. And basically the souls of the gods have attached themselves to mortal vessels. But it's like a comedy show kind of. So it's just a bunch of like, it's a family of brothers who are all also Norse gods. I really enjoy it. It is TV 14. and it's a foreign show, so they're kind of fine with nudity, but
Yep.
it's a good show. I recommend it. Brendan?
Perfect. Yeah. Hope mentioning Paramount Plus also reminded me, if you haven't watched Survivor and you are into like kind of reality TV, if you're a psych person, Survivor is definitely the way to go. There are tons of seasons of that too. So if you just looking for something to binge. But also, I really, every like once a year, I get back into this mobile app called Pokemon Masters. It's kind of like a weird, like, it's not turn-based, but you have like an energy bar that like builds up to like attack. And if you're a Pokemon fan, it's definitely fun. Pokemon Legends Arceus will be out by the time that this releases, so you guys probably will see me for the first time that anyone has seen me when we record next week, because I'm going to spend that long playing the game.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
outside of going to class, right?
no,
Priorities.
priorities. I don't have large lecture classrooms where I can play in class, so the option is no class. Yeah, one of my classes has 6 people in it, so I can't like sneak my Switch in there. Oh well, senioritis is not compatible with my semester, I guess. Anyway, that's all we have for y'all today. Thanks for joining us here on Raving Geeks. Make sure you leave a comment wherever you're listening from. We love to hear from y'all, what you thought about today's podcast, what you thought about previous podcasts, and what you'd like to hear for future podcasts. You can always reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, or our TikTok at Raving Geeks. And as always, I have been Brendan Valentine, along with my fellow co-hosts.
Hope Gooderl.
And I have been Isaac Hunter.
Ta-da!
It's you.
Stay geeky and have a great week, y'all. So long.